Thank you everyone for joining us on another one of our AMAs, and we have our latest partner, HashAI, along with us. So welcome HashAI and anyone from the HashAI community who's jumped on to listen to this AMA as well. My name's George Fox. I'm one of the co-founders, and Logan is my sort of technical opposite as the other co-founder. And I believe, Spartan, you're from the business development team at HashAI.
Yeah, that's correct.
Amazing. Okay, guys. So what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll just have a brief introduction about what HashAI does and what LinqAI does. So apologies if you've heard this numerous times before. And then we'll cover the synergy slightly and explain the sort of level of symbiosis between the two projects, especially with what we're doing or what we've turned our sort of attention to. And then after that, we will do some updates. So HashAI, I know they've got some very cool updates to talk about, and as do we as well. And then after that, I guess, Spartan, you have it as a particular opportunity to drop some alpha that your team maybe didn't want you to drop, but will make you incredibly popular. And Logan, if we can also maybe tease something out of you as well, potentially for some alpha at the end. So without further ado, Spartan, you are the guest. So I will ask you first, if you just want to briefly explain what HashAI does and what your sort of future plans are going forward, that'd be great.
Yeah, 100%. So it's great to have everybody here. Great to be here with our good partners, LinqAI. It's a new week. We're getting after it. Hope everybody's doing well. It's all systems go in the HashAI HQ. So for the LinqAI crowd, if you've not heard much about us, we're a crypto mining company based in the UK. We launched our token over a year ago now, last April. And we launched off the back of what was an already established mining operation. So we have around 10 years of experience in our core team in the crypto mining industry. So we're very, very experienced. We had so many operations already live and running, and we thought we can build a community around this, allow us to scale our operations massively and provide value back to the people who support us. That's exactly what we've done. So from day one, we've been redistributing profits to our token holders. We've done about $1.5 million now in profit share. And we're at a point now where we're fully self-sustainable. We dropped our taxes to 0 in January. We've expanded our operations tremendously since launch. We were just based in the UK. We've scaled our operations in the country. We're now in Ethiopia, China, and we recently just acquired a facility site in the UAE where we're going to be building our own facility from the ground up. So that's really, really exciting for us. It took a long, long time to get that deal over the line. But if you go and check out our Twitter, you can see the construction updates. It's coming along really nicely. And that will house another 1,000 ASIC miners as we gear up for what we're doing next. So our main mission really is to provide the opportunity for everybody to access mining and the earning potential that it provides. So at the stage of the game where we're at now, there's a very, very high barrier to entry in terms of purchasing the hardware itself, hosting it, maintaining it, everything like that. It's very difficult for the individual or someone, a newcomer, to enter the industry, and we want to change that. So we're really trying to bring something new to the space and do something that people haven't seen before. We'd like to uphold good values as well, try and lead by example. There's a lot of people who aren't operating ethically. We want to do the exact opposite of that. You know, we're always transparent, showing our infrastructure, we're putting our faces to the project, always meeting community members and people around the space when we go out to these in-person events. We're out to Web3 Amsterdam, Token 2049, the AVAX Summit in London this year, and we're excited to do many, many more. But alongside the mining, which is our speciality, we do also provide compute to individuals, projects, other businesses, and that's how we form this partnership here with LinqAI. So we're delegating some of our nodes to their LinqProtocol and working together in that regard. So if you haven't heard of us, come and check us out. But yeah, I'd love to get into what we have to talk about today with LinqAI.
Amazing, very concise and to the point summary. I think it highlights what you guys do, or what we know you do very well. Just a quick one before we dive into Logan. How have you guys obviously been based in the UK, and with the amazingly cheap electricity prices we get and stuff? Obviously, you guys set this up a while ago. Is that the main sort of factor behind the UAE, or is it the fact that it's just sort of the crypto-friendly nature of the Emirates?
Yes, so in the UK, traditionally, you're looking at very, very high electricity costs compared to other places in the world. But, you know, we've been in the game a long, long time, made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot of lessons, and we're in a fantastic position now in terms of our knowledge and expertise. We have got a site in the UK that is more of a unicorn, with really, really low running costs. But the UAE was a great opportunity for us because it's tremendously low in terms of your operational costs out there. But the access is very, very difficult to attain. So through our global network, we managed to secure this site. And the main reason for it really is what we're gearing up for is going to be our next main utility, which is stepping into the tokenized RWA space. So we'll be fractionalizing the ownership of our ASIC miners, and the UAE will provide tremendously low operational costs. We can pass on those benefits directly to our investors. So essentially, when it comes to mining, your main cost is the electricity. It can eat into half or more of your revenue in a lot of cases. And if you look at a lot of major mining farms, mining companies over in the US, they're probably paying 5.5, 6 cents for their electricity. If you're hosting your rigs in a third-party owned facility, you're looking at paying 7, 8, 9 cents. And in the UAE, it's tremendously low. So even all of our costs all in, we can provide returns to our community at around 5.5, 6 cents, essentially providing the opportunity for people to get institutional grade mining returns just from holding one of our RWA NFTs. So it's a tremendous expansion for us, going to provide a lot of value to our community and to everybody in the space. So the main reason for going out there, was just the big opportunity it provides in terms of mining yields. So, and we're really happy to get that over the line and get it going.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, thanks. That was just a curiosity I had, being obviously living in the UK myself as well. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Martin. Logan, so over to you. Obviously, you've done this a fair few times on this channel, but with an emphasis on LinqProtocol, if you want to give a little bit of a rundown for maybe the HashAI community who have hopped on this call.
Yeah, so we're LinqAI, and as George said, like we've introduced ourselves a lot. I think the kind of story of how we got here is we've been building SaaS apps, doxed, for about a year now. And during building these apps, like, you're always looking for where to optimize. And for us, the operational expenses of maintaining them, as user base grows, so does the operational cost. And we became quite, interested in optimizing that. Obviously, we have Marketer, which is automated marketing assistant with AI. We have Synthetic, which is first of its class product really with social media simulation. We built a couple of micro apps for LinqHub, Researcher, Composer, all doing different little various parts of the whole kind of AI suite that we offer. And eventually these start getting quite costly to run. Prompted us to do a lot of investigation into optimizing and self-sufficiency, buying bare metal servers and running things on them. And we started to get really interested in, we're always looking for places where derivatives make sense, right? So from our SaaS apps, which is our main kind of bread and butter, we have two things that come out of that, right? One is revenue, which we have been supporting the ecosystem with through LinqAI. I think in total now it's close to $400,000 that we brought back into the token. But another derivative of SaaS apps is also compute power, which we started spending a lot of money on internally. And, being kind of having a lot of people on the team that are cloud native, really in love with that part of the industry, we started experimenting, and eventually we saw a really good opportunity to start putting together cloud native infrastructure for everyone. Right. And so those are big words, and maybe they don't mean that much to everyone. But essentially, I think the best way to describe the problem is if you want to rent like a $200 and above server from a leading provider like Hetzner or AWS, chances are you're probably going to do KYC. And these are relatively small servers. And the centralization happening in the compute providing space is pretty insane. Like most of it is concentrated within the three big companies, AWS, Microsoft, Azure, and then GCP. And it's a growing problem, expanding and expanding. You're seeing, solutions like HashAI pop up, but, we're focused on sort of a different thing, not owning the hardware per se and building that, but allowing a marketplace to happen between people who own this hardware and consumers who want to benefit from it. So LinqProtocol is our solution to this. And it will be the way to kind of allow compute access to everyone in I guess, a similar way to what HashAI's vision imagines. But for us, it's more of a focus not on owning the hardware, but on providing the marketplace for those transactions to happen. And then probably the biggest, most innovative thing we're working on is our provider client. So the LinqProtocol provider client is a way to run on your computer a virtualized environment, which will allow your computer to act as if it were a server, and for you to be able to sell the compute power that you may have already laying around the house that can be used for, depending on the type of hardware you have, minimal applications like hosting a website, or if you really have big hardware lying around, probably my PC is a great fit for something like a small model AI training. And so what LinqProtocol really aims to do is, one, capture that kind of waste within our own ecosystem a bit better and refocus that toward LinqProtocol instead of paying AWS or Google. On the other hand, it also serves to allow anyone to participate in open compute networks. There are existing players in the game like a Cache that have done a lot of work in pushing this frontier forward, and we look to kind of contribute to that. I think it's a great mission. I think the whole compute space is something where, you know, I saw a tweet, someone said all the smartest people I know right now are in hardware, and I think that's quite true, right? Owning and using and creating access to or creating a platform around sharing compute power, especially with catalysts like AI coming up, where the demand for this is just going through the roof. I think that's really where we see a future for ourselves. And also for our token, I think LinqProtocol is an amazing opportunity to expand the ecosystem, to introduce more sustainable economics around the entire project. And that's really what we're aiming to do. So that's us. We've been building in the SaaS space, and we've been expanding now into a much more decentralized project with LinqProtocol to capture that value better and redistribute it as well.
Amazing. Thanks very much, Logan. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory and like I said, we've already mentioned this a couple of times on previous AMAs anyway. So maybe talk a little bit about the synergy. Spartan, you did touch on obviously crypto mining being a large, or Bitcoin mining being a large sort of part of what it is you do, but then you also alluded to at the sort of back end is the sort of providing compute power, I'm guessing with spare GPUs and spare sort of compute power that you have left over from mining operations. Obviously, the synergy is, as you both mentioned, is what we are looking to create as a decentralized protocol. We'll also take on compute power. So maybe could you possibly, Spartan, touch a little bit more on that facet of what you guys do with regards to sort of allowing people to use your compute?
Yeah, absolutely. So alongside the mining, we also have a large amount of nodes within our infrastructure. So we use them as just dedicated infrastructure to, you know, facilitate partnerships like this, be able to provide new services, bring in new income streams for us. So we work with many different people across the space. It's allowed us to develop a group of around 25 partner projects, and we also work with individuals, businesses as well, so we can support, you know, AI model training, data processing, etc. So, you know, it's great to be able to delegate some of our nodes to your infrastructure, help with, you know, decentralizing what you guys do, as well as, you know, providing some power to help you guys along. So it's not our main focus, but we wanted to provide something else where we can, you know, work with other businesses, give us an extra angle. So we have a bunch of dedicated infrastructure there on the node side to help us with that.
Perfect. And Logan, maybe sort of explain how that is beneficial to us, especially, you know, sort of on the especially with higher power GPU compute, because obviously, like you said, you with your, you know, NVIDIA graphics card on your PC and other people like that there's only a certain amount of power that can actually bring to sort of especially more complex tasks. So like maybe can you explain from our perspective why that's so useful to us to have on tap?
Yeah, so I think like bootstrapping a network like this is hard for two reasons. One is your chicken and egg problem, where you need demand and you also need providers. You need them at the same time to create like a network. So a lot of the initial stages of LinqProtocol will be attracting through partner projects or through incentive structures with a token providers to the network, right? And that's one of the places where HashAI would be really important as one of those initial providers. And then the other part is what you touched on, which is not everyone owns hardware that can do like really complex things. And if you want to provide a really good substitute in the decentralized space to something like AWS, you need to have like really big machines on hand for bigger tasks. And, you know, though consumer compute power and distributing that is really interesting, it isn't the complete picture. And part of it will be centralized clusters that join the network and are also tradable and sellable through the marketplace. That's where a bigger cluster like HashAI would come in, where they can provide servers with huge GPUs, many of them on tap, on demand, which even if you had, you know, all the consumer GPUs in the world, you couldn't match that kind of processing power needed in one central location. And so, yeah, twofold where it assists really. One is being a provider on the network will help a lot, especially in those early stages, bootstrapping demand. And then the other one would be being accessible and there for very big jobs like training multi-million parameter models. That would definitely be where bigger clusters like HashAI and similar partners would fit in.
Perfect. Okay, amazing. Thanks very much for that. So hopefully everyone on the call understands what HashAI do, what we do, and why this makes such a sort of a natural synergy. I mean, we were banging on the door of HashAI a while ago, and we don't like to just sort of force any form of like co-marketing sort of nonsense, and we've been in communication for ages, and it wasn't quite right at the time, and we both agreed it was just like, well, I don't know what we're gonna say, and so we've been sort of in communication for ages, and obviously now with this direction, it makes perfect sense. for us to have such a sort of an active partner in the space. So updates. We'll start with HashAI being the guest. Any sort of updates, things you want to specifically highlight to anyone in the audience about what you guys have been building, what you're looking to build, any sort of sneaky roadmap, alpha potentially as well. So Spartan, I'll throw you under the bus first.
Awesome. Yeah, like you said, we want our partnerships to really provide value to each other, not just a paper thing online with a post. We always want to get involved with each other's communities, help each other out where we can, and make sure it's right. It was a long time in the making. We wanted to make sure the value was there for both sides, and we've got it going now, which is fantastic. But yeah, so in terms of what's coming next for us, we have a lot going on. I've just thrown up in the Jumbotron here a post from our Twitter here. So, it's all systems go at HashAI. We've got a new website in development that'll be finalized soon to really streamline, the user experience, allow people to access everything that we have, fully understand our services properly. But as I touched on earlier, we are currently building a site in the UAE, which is going to be absolutely fantastic for us. The operational costs there are extremely low, and that's really setting us up well for our mission of providing access to mining to absolutely everybody. Because coming up soon, probably within the next month or so, we're going to be preparing the biggest utility drop, the biggest marketing push that HashAI has ever seen. So it's a fantastic time to come and get involved in the community. Come and check us out. We're always here to interact with you guys, answer your questions. We're very engaging with our community. And so what's coming next is we are going to be using NFTs as a vehicle for ownership of ASIC miners. It'll be like nothing anybody's ever done before. We're talking yields that you can't find in TradFi, can't find in crypto. It can be up to 100% plus passive Bitcoin income, something that's really going to change the game here, and something that people can get involved with, whether they want to invest in our token or not. They can have access to mining, be earning that passive Bitcoin, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we're doing a range of machines. We've got S19s, S21s, L7s, L9s, offering a multitude of different options, different barriers to entry. So we're really trying to, provide access to everybody, change the game here, and provide something of real value in this space. There's a lot of projects who aren't really making products who can really do much for people. There's a lot of people who aren't operating in the right way. From day one, our main goal is to just provide value to the space. Our holders have been enjoying passive income since day one. We've been giving out tens of thousands of dollars each month. It's about $1.5 million so far. And now we're just taking it to the next level, really, providing people with true access to mining, where they can get in the game with no experience, no knowledge. They can get in there, have ownership of a machine, and start earning some passive Bitcoin returns. So it's going to be a huge, huge couple of months for HashAI. We've got a lot going on. We're always networking, always finding new people to bring on board. And it's just going to be fantastic. We've got so much stuff we're going to be putting out. So yeah, really exciting time for us. Can't say too much in terms of details now, but definitely follow us along on our Twitter. We're giving regular updates on the site build, wanting to show people what we're about, take people every step of the way, keep transparency there at all times. So yeah, it's going really, really well for us at HashAI, and we're super excited.
Brilliant. Yeah, congratulations. How far are you on the development process? I think I saw a video of someone on the site, but is that something you guys will have done in sort of in relatively short time, or is it quite a sort of a physical undertaking to develop one of these sites?
Yeah, all being well, we're looking at mid-July. Our guys move fast out there, so it's been progressing really, really well. We're looking at mid-July. Obviously, the boys will be out there. We'll get some fantastic content, showcase the whole facility to everybody, show people what they're going to be investing in. You can see the machines there. You can see what you're going to be owning. So yeah, we're looking at mid-July, hopefully for this thing to be completed. And yeah, it's progressing fantastically well. So we're on track at the moment.
Amazing. Brilliant. Look forward to seeing that develop over the next couple of weeks. Logan, so similar thing to you, mate. Updates, obviously, we're working across LinqProtocol, Market Synthetic, and some other things. So do you want to give maybe a small sort of brief on where we're at the moment?
Yeah, so I think the biggest updates that we have to share. Obviously, we released a huge update for Synthetic a couple of weeks ago. That's going really well. It's more of a kind of marketing spin up on Synthetic right now, pushing user growth. For Synthetic, we allowed much more complex audience modeling in Synthetic. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to use.synthetic.app. It's a really cool social media simulation tool. Really, as I said before, first of its class. Right now, we've been sharing a lot more UI from LinqProtocol in the kind of main Twitter page or X page, and I think we've been thinking about this for a while because we announced LinqProtocol a couple of months back. We released the light paper, and there's been a lot of abstract kind of ideas floating around. In the background, obviously, we've been developing a non-stop 24/7, and now is the first time where I think we're really painting the picture in people's minds of what it's going to be like to use and interact with LinqProtocol. I think a lot of decentralized solutions to compute offer very clunky user experiences. Actually, as a consumer, as kind of, you know, I don't know how George did it, but he deployed an app on Netlify at some point, which was, you know, quite shocking, seeing how these AI tools are allowing people that normally wouldn't be able to, or wouldn't even be interested in deploying things, they're able to do that. And you'll see with the LinqProtocol dashboard that we've been releasing, it very much echoes this Vercel, Heroku ease of use without removing the ability for developers to have that deep customization ability, being able to edit your Helm files or your YAML files manually by hand. If you have them on your PC already, you can just upload them. But also, we've been looking a lot at the average consumer and how they're going to be interacting with a platform like this. How can you make it accessible for anyone to deploy their own Coolify or their own Strappy instance? And so a large chunk of the updates that we've been sharing publicly have just been showing people this UI, painting that picture. In the background, though, there's progress across all fronts, right? If you think of LinqProtocol as kind of consisting of three huge elements, there's a requester dashboard where people, the average people or developers, will go make deployments, launch their apps. That's one side, and that's the side we probably teased the most with the UI. The other side is the provider client. As I mentioned earlier, a client that you can install on your computer and allow you to share your resources with the network, and then obviously earn LNQ as a reward for being able to share that compute power. That place, I think, is the most innovative, and we've led with this from the start. I think something that will really differentiate us from other provider clients is ours will be open source. So when we get there, it will be open for other developers to contribute to and build on top of. And I really think we need the open source community to assist with really getting like huge traction on this, customizing it, hacking and slashing it. Although there are similar clients that exist out in the wild, they are closed source. Most of them are not very good at what they do. And we're really hoping by open sourcing LinqProtocol's provider client, not only are we going to lead the charge there, but also we're going to attract a lot more developer support that will take such an ambitious vision and realize it. And then the third component to LinqProtocol is the blockchain stack, actually enabling payments through the Ethereum network and then also through an L2, and connecting that with the provider client, and then allowing the access to the requester to pay with LNQ, the provider, for their network power. So in the case of someone like HashAI, they would be the provider in this case. They'd be running the LinqProtocol client on one of their servers, and requesters from all over the world will be able to tap into that just simply using LNQ and going through our dashboard. So in terms of updates, there's been a lot of progress on the blockchain front. I think the token economy is evolving, and there's so much I want to talk about and I want to share, because I think it's such a mature, fleshed out economy that we're producing with LinqProtocol that we simply weren't able to do before this. And I think this is really exciting for our holders and our community. The options you're going to see, return of staking pools, but in a different form to farms, just a very, very concise economy spanning across two chains, though retaining a single token, which will be LNQ. So updates across the board, the requester dashboard's coming along very well, the provider client is progressing, and the blockchain ecosystem is just growing by the day. And yeah, very excited to share all of this. I can't go into too much detail on any of it, but there is a lot of progress. And honestly, I think even just what we shared recently is tip of the iceberg. We've been sitting on that for weeks and weeks, waiting for a moment to start sharing and opening and painting this LinqProtocol picture. Very excited about this project. But yeah, that's pretty much it for updates from our side for now.
Look how coy you both are being with, like, you don't want to share too much, but that's fine. That's fine. We can handle that. So what would you guys, is there any sort of pearls of wisdom you would sort of, without telling people to pick specific projects, are there any sort of pearls of wisdom or advice you give people at this stage in the market, maybe looking at the way some projects have gone with buzzwords and some projects are actually, developing, actual real life utility? Is there any, and I appreciate I've gone slightly off on a tangent here, but Spartan, probably to you first. Is there anything that you would, any sort of advice you give people from, obviously you've been in the industry a fair few years and you've seen a couple of cycles and you've seen sort of projects come and go. Is there any sort of pearls of wisdom you would pass on?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously do your research, be careful who you're investing in, look at the teams, look at the value that the projects have. I mean, we're always a champion of good values. I met many community members when I was out at these events this year. There's a lot of projects out here that are just using buzzwords, and like ourselves, we fully integrated AI into our operations. We're not just using that to get some extra eyes on ourselves. We optimize all our operations through AI. We developed our own AI algorithm that analyzes the market in real time. It sees which coins are most profitable, eliminates the need for manual switching, automatically switches our rigs whichever coin has the highest ROI, just maximizing profitability, efficiency of the whole operation. But yeah, like myself, I'm always happy to interact with people. I'm chatting to community members all the time. So just take a look at what you're investing in, make sure there's real value there, real companies, because there's a lot of people in the space who are just trying to extract value. We're trying to do the exact opposite here. So yeah, just really dig into your projects before you look to invest. And I mean, as well, hopefully we see an uptick in the markets. We're looking at, what could be a very prosperous July and August, and then Q3 for everybody here. So hopefully we'll all see the benefits of that, and all our hard work that's been going in behind the scenes will come to fruition. But yeah, so just do your due diligence, get involved in the communities, see what you're investing in, make sure there's real value there. And like ourselves, we're sitting around 40 million market cap at the moment, or 35, and it's really strong. But you'll struggle to find a project that's as fundamentally strong as we are in terms of the value of the infrastructure we have, the value we're giving back to holders. We probably put about $7 million back into the project to grow it, and now get to a point where we can survive anything, grow through anything. A lot of projects are just taking that money and putting it in their back pocket, unfortunately. But we're committed to what we're building here. We have a strong vision for the long term, for the future. So we're just really trying to make our infrastructure bulletproof, reinvest at every given opportunity. And you won't see that in a lot of projects out here. So
cool, thanks very much. And obviously, Logan, you have most points being covered by Spartan there with regards to do your own research and stuff. But is there anything you would sort of add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably also look at like how long they've been around. I think, especially in tough times like this, like easy gains, very attractive, especially if you're down bad. Take a look at the history, the track record of the teams, much echoing the do your own research. I think if the project can answer your first like 10 why questions, there's probably something good there. But yeah, just dig deep, I think, and really like how long people have been around is going to start mattering more and more to everyone. And we finally crossed, I think, what are we now, 14 months old, and we're still growing. There's volatility in all markets, but I think really focusing on what value the project seeks to provide. I think with LinqProtocol, probably the thing I'm proudest about is that it's a real utility, right? If we can realize a world where the internet can't be turned off again, and all the providers in the world can come together and keep a network alive on consumer hardware and server hardware, all in a decentralized compute marketplace, that's a world I want to live in. And look for projects that have high conviction and ambitious goals, but have obviously taken reasonable steps to achieve them. I guess that would echo most of your points there, Spartan. Great points.
Yeah, 100%. People don't really understand the work that goes on behind the scenes. We've had a rough time with altcoins. Obviously, it's been a tremendous bull market so far, but we have had some ups and downs, and it's teams who can stick through that, keep the work ethic going, keep pushing updates, and just have that unwavering conviction in their long-term vision that you want to go for, because it is tough out here. A lot of people can't make the cut when it comes to dealing with tough times, but people like ourselves who've been here for 14 months now, we're establishing ourselves in the space. A lot of people recognize what we're doing. Those are the ones you want to keep an eye on, and you have a really strong value proposition as well. Like with yourselves, the demand for your side of things is only going to increase as time goes on. Ourselves here, we have a mining operation on a massive scale as the backbone of the project. So we always have revenue coming in regardless of what's happening in the markets, regardless of the demand for any of our alternative services. We've always got that money coming in, which supports the project, allows us to stay alive, keep growing through anything. So 100% definitely agree with you there, Logan.
Awesome. Okay, well, guys, I think if I'm honest, I think we've covered sort of both the projects, what we do, the synergies between the projects, and sort of future roadmap things to look forward to. So Logan and Spartan, thank you very much for joining us. We see the HashAI main accounts jumped in here as well. I appreciate you guys jumping on. And for everyone else who's come up to listen, I hope it's been informative from both sides of the table. And I hope you guys stick around and have a better second half potentially of 2025. So thanks very much for listening, guys. And we'll see you in the future.